Hello out there. Hello, everyone in YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and our Twitch friends. Please let me know that you can hear me by commenting 36 months or 3 years below in the chat. 36 months or 3 years to let me know that you can hear me in the chat. And then we're going to get rolling with this evening. Thank you, Precious G, and welcome to the mods. I just added you as a mod. And definitely please remember to hit that like button below to help us grow. Please share the video as well. Everything that you can do to help us reach our goal of 50K subscribers. We're behind the 8 ball right now, people, because the year is almost over. But you know, we got plenty more content coming out there. I'm sure something will be trending, something will happen. I just got to get on those trends and get our numbers up as far as subscribers. But anyway, that's shop talk. We'll do that later. We'll do that on Patreon and all that good stuff. Anyway, thank you to the moderators on the front end: Precious G, Tina Jones, Lisa Diane Hunt. I saw Marianne Coker, and I saw, who else did I see? I know I saw you. I wish I had just remembered the name. Now I'm scrolling through just to find it because I want to. Donna Hammond. That's who I was looking for. Donna Hammond. Thank you, my front end YouTube moderators. And also thank you to my backstage moderators, Alice, Blessed Child of God, and also Go Gadget. Bridget is with us this evening on the back end, putting up your wonderful comments and starring things that should garner my attention before it's all over. I'm going to be very transparent and very honest. I am exhausted, extremely exhausted. I don't know if y'all can see it. I don't know if y'all used to seeing me or not. If y'all could see how, like, my eyes are telling a story. But we're going to ignore them and we're going to get through this because, hey, I came here for a reason. I'm in St. Louis, Missouri. I was at the sentencing hearing for Waiel Yaghnam. And as I do when it comes to these trials and now these sentencing hearings, I have my notes. See them? See my notes? And this is the same notebook. This is the second one that I had started on with the Tim Norman trial. So we got a little bit left. Probably by the time we get to Tim, I'm probably gonna have to get another notebook, but it'll be fine. Anyway, also please remember to join our VIP text community. The number is scrolling across the screen at the bottom. I just want to give a disclaimer because there are going to probably be some people in the chat maybe this evening saying, hey, I didn't get your message today. Well, I did send messages, but remember I told y'all like was a month or so ago about them wanting me to upgrade my service, and it's going from $79 a month to like $300, and it's something I got to talk to them about and all of this. And so now it's only allowing me to text only 1,000 of you, and yeah, that's all I can do. So and then it's a whole glitchy thing. So really, I'm only able to text the top 25% of people who participate in the text community for now. So a way to avoid that's another reason why I created our VIP Facebook group, because of that issue. I was just starting to have a lot of issues with the text community and being able to use it in the way that we could actually communicate. And so if you want to ensure that you're going to get information regardless of what's going on with my VIP texting account, you can go over there to Facebook and join Vail's Important Community. Make sure you answer the questions. Otherwise, it will not allow you in our private group. You got to answer those questions to make sure you're not a troll. Well, it's a screener. I mean, you can still be a troll, but you're going to get blocked real quick. Trust. So yeah, over there you can join. And I like it over there because I can send a little random tidbits like I did today. I made my second visit to Lucky's Black Chinese food. I coined it that. But Lucky's Chinese food here in St. Louis, Missouri. Today I tried the I did my seafood fried rice again. I got a whole order. and I had they had buffalo wings. They have chicken wings. I did the buffalo wings, and then I did the St. Paul, a shrimp St. Paul, which I had no idea what that was. And so, but I could tell it was popular because people asked for it the first time I went, and they were out of them, and people were like, "Oh man!" And so I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to try that next time." So I tried that, and so I did a little video that'll be out really on Patreon, to be honest. I might throw a little something in our VIP Facebook community. I'm definitely gonna throw some pictures in there of the Airbnb, and all of that. And then also another little tidbit they got over there in our Facebook VIP group. Again, because I can share these things randomly that I can't share in a text community because I'll be spamming y'all with text messages all day. Plus character restrictions and all that other stuff it's got. But anyway, I also ran into Waiel's attorney when I was leaving court, meaning I was in my car sending the different social media posts, about the sentencing and what actually the amount of time that Waiel got. Waiel right here. And I'm just sitting there, and the next thing you know, a guy's getting in his little SUV in front of me, and I happen to look up, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's his attorney. And so I'm trying to fumble with my phone real quick, like, let me try to get the picture for them. And so I only caught, I was only able to get a picture of him getting in the car, and then I turned it on video. But anyway, I'll share that with our VIP group. But they saw the picture at least. But so it's little things like that I can't share on YouTube necessarily. It's not worth a video. But anyway, so that's me again advertising our Vail's Important people community, and I forgot to copy and paste the link. I'll probably do that if we do a little commercial break. Probably not, because this is gonna go pretty quickly, y'all. Also, community guidelines, because we are talking about a very sensitive topic tonight. And so I want to just remind us that we cannot use any curse words in the chat. Do not type the I'm about to say it. Do not type the word ill with a K or murder. Do not type either of those words in the chat. It will it could potentially restrict the monetization on my video, which means I make pennies as opposed to dollars on the video. So because of that, your comments, if you make a mistake, because we're all human, will be deleted by the moderators, or if you do it on purpose, because some people will hear that and be like, oh, good, we can get his video like demonetized. Yeah, no, we're not doing that. Also, this is my virtual home. So real life rules apply here in my virtual home, just as it does in my real home, which means in order to interact with me and this platform, you must be kind. You must be respectful to everyone in this community and to this community. And you can disagree because we all have different perspectives and life experiences, etc., preferences, but you cannot be disagreeable, which means do not insult this community and the members in this community. That means people in the chat or the host. That's me. So with that, I'm not going to hold us up any longer. I wanted to give people time. We do things on YouTube to give people time to get in the chat and all that. So we good now. We got everybody here. All right, so let's go. This train is about to take off. So picture this. Today, November 7th, 2022, Waiel Yaghnam's sentencing hearing here in St. Louis, Missouri at the federal court. So his court hearing was today. So for those of you who aren't familiar, because some might be just swinging by, this is Waiel Yaghnam. He actually looked pretty much like this today. Yeah, you know what? To me, he actually looked a little bit more, and I don't have a picture because it just hit me. He looked more like that picture where they talked about how he was a music producer, and I think he had on like a red baseball cap and maybe a red baseball jacket, the one that's got like the little stripes in the collar, and then like the sleeves are one color and the middle of it is a different color. I think to me, he looked physically, his face looked a little bit more like that. Anyway, so his court hearing started at 11. Side note, I drove 4 hours this morning to come straight to court. I was about an hour early, which was kind of what I planned, no, an hour and a half early. And so I was just waiting around. And so I went in the building about at about 10:30 so I can get to security. And then I went into the actual courtroom. Now, when I got up there, there was no one there. It was a ghost town. And usually there's a little bit of, buzz 30 minutes before the hearing. It was zero. So I was like, dang, is anybody going to show up besides me? So it happens to be an older lady there. I don't know if she's watching tonight, but I think she told me later. Yeah, she told me she had commented something to me that I remember. So she does watch. I don't know if she's watching now, but hello if you're watching. But anyway, she was up there and I sent a message in our VIP group saying that it was just me and another nosy neighbor there because I knew she was probably someone from the public. So eventually, we went in and then people started to slowly show up. When we went into the courtroom, there were two marshals who are assigned to the court. So those are the ones who work the court building. So they are the ones, again, I talked about before, for those of you who've been with us a long time. They wear the dark blue suits. So they wear like the uniform suit. And it was two of them. They were posted at the front door. And then there were two plainclothes marshals. And when I say that, they have on regular street clothes, and then they have on those windbreaker kind of jackets that at the back is really big letters that says U.S. Marshal. So it was two of them in there, and it's like a dark blue, windbreaker kind of jacket, and I think the lettering is yellow if I'm not mistaken. So they were in there. One was posted by the door, the main door we come in, and one was sitting over by the plaintiff table, usually where the government sat during the trial and where Travail ended up sitting during his sentencing hearing. So at that same table, remember from the Travail sentencing, I told you how they switched sides where the government was on like the plaintiff side. Now they were on the other side, the defendant side, basically. Excuse me, y'all. And so what do I have here? And then I think I forgot my glass. I meant to make sure I pull my glasses out. I don't have time to search for them, but we'll work through it. And then I was stating there were like two other professionals in there. So sometimes, even during the trial, there were like other legal professionals or people who worked in the building, the federal court building, who would just come and sit in on the trial for whatever reasons. And so today I saw that again, where there were like two professionals. I don't know what their roles were exactly. And then some more people from the public started to come in. And then what I noticed, Waiel's attorney was already in there. And he was like, you could tell he was organizing his files. He was going through paperwork. He's standing up over the conference table that they sit at. And to me, he just looked, it was, and I wrote here, literally, I wrote, not smooth, looks slightly disorganized, as if he was looking for something. And this plays into, I'm like, I'm very observant. I had to give myself a pat on the shoulder later on, and I'll tell you why. So then while I'm being a nosy neighbor and I'm, looking around for y'all and taking all these little notes, when I look back again where he was gone. And I never noticed him leave. So he left out for some reason while I was being nosy. And then I said at approximately 11 a.m. Is when the Griggs family started to come in. And so their victim advocate, the lady who's been with them the entire time through the trial, it's a white lady, blonde hair. She's the person who takes them to whatever area they're being sequestered in, all of that. I saw her first and I didn't see them. So I was like, well, maybe they're not coming to this. And then, because she was just in there by herself and talking, and usually she kind of has them with her. But anyway, they ended up coming in. Michelle Griggs was there, Darren, Kaylin, Asia, and I know I was told who it's like a teenager who's with them, and I know they told me who he was, and I forgot. This was a couple weeks ago, so I forgot today. But what I did not forget, and I was corrected by Michelle Griggs herself and Kaylin, is that the guy who I thought the guy who was the older gentleman who was with them the last time during Trevel's sentencing, who I told you I thought was the uncle, actually is Michelle's boyfriend. And so I know this to be fact. I've been told by the official sources themselves that is actually Michelle's boyfriend who was there. And he just wasn't really there during the trial itself. But he was definitely there for that, for Trevel's sentencing. And then he was there once again today, supporting, holding her down. So I was really happy to find out, like, she got a man, that holds her down and all that. That's good. That's a blessing. Anyway, at that point, the prosecution walked in, and I noticed that Angie Danis, didn't think to pull that picture again for y'all. This StreamYard, I can only store so many pictures. I have to delete them like after when the stream topics are different. So unfortunately, it's not here, and I didn't think to pull it in here. But anyway, the prosecution attorney, Angie Danis, came in. She spoke with the Griggs family a little bit. And then Gwen Carroll, the co-attorney, she spoke. She was saying hey to the clerk, the stenographer, and she was like, "Hey, long time no see." So I just thought it was cool because it is kind of like I stated before, when you go that much, it's almost like going to a job. Well, for them it is a job, but you start to get familiar with people, and the way you greet them is a little different, almost like you're greeting your coworkers. So I have a little bit of that with like some of the marshals and some of the people, period. Even some of the other attorneys and FBI agents and all of that. So yeah, that's just cool. But anyway, then this is when it gets you're the best nosy neighbor, male version of Pearl for 227. Yes. She's my mentor. But so then this is where we start to get good. This is where we start to get some new stuff for y'all. Some stuff. Oh, I need to say this, and I ain't tooting my own horn, but I'm just saying. It was from the media. The only people who were there today were Erin from St. Louis Post-Dispatch. She's on it. She's always on the story. I love the fact that she stuck with the story from beginning all the way through. So she was there again. So when you read her article, if it's not already out, know that it is firsthand account from her. She was there, and then also myself. I do know that today's Celebrity News and Chronicle Speaks, they will be in the future hearings. I do know they plan to come. I don't know who else is planning to come, but I know they are. But anyway, so it was just me and Erin today. And so Waiel's family walked in, and nobody had to tell me that was Waiel's family. They looked like people who would be in Waiel's family. So there were 9 of them, and it was 2 men and 7 women. And out of the 7 women, 3 of them had head wraps. I don't think they call them hijabs if they're not like all entire face. So it wasn't like their face was covered just with the eyes out, but it was just the head wraps. And so I put here all ages, but then later on I was able to figure out a little better of a breakdown because we all had to leave out of the courtroom again for them to have a private conference with Waiel and his attorney. But what I put here was one was either in her late 20s, early 30s. 2 of them, at least 2 of them, were like seniors, 65 plus. One looked like could be 80 years old or so. Then, and I'll come back to that because my notes are, again, remember, like I stated the last time, when it comes to this, it's a lot different than the trial because of the fact that it's happening rapid fire. There's like not a lot of pause between question and answer, and no objection. Well, yeah, the objections aren't a part of it. It's all those things that gave me breaks to like get my notes in order and jot down things in detail. I don't have those moments. So it's kind of like my notes are, I'm just, listening and just writing. So some of this will be out of order, but it's still good. So anyway, we find out that Waiel's birthday, he was asked his name, he was sworn in, all that stuff. And then, and I'll get into what he had on too, because that's out of order. Should I jump to that? Let me jump to that because it's just right here. So anyway, Waiel's family comes in. It's 9 of them, and it was 2 men and then Waiel. So what I noticed when he came in, well, I see the family coming in, and I'm so used to all of the co-conspirators coming through that back door, because all the rest of them have been arrested except for him. I didn't really think about, oh, he might come through the door we come through. Like, he might be in the hallways with us. So I'm noticing everybody's coming in. I'm taking notes for y'all. And then next thing I know, I look up and he's like the last person. The thing that caught me off guard was that he was like, hey, Lavelle. It's like, shit, what? and so I was just like, hey. So Waiel not only spoke to me as he's walking down, I'm the last row, like the front, it's the back door, and I'm literally the first row. You turn a little bit to like make the angle for the how the aisle goes. So he's walking right past my row. He's probably 8 feet or so away from me. And but he spoke and said my name, and it was real cool. It was real suave and all of that. And it was more like, the way I took it in the moment was like a respect kind of, hey, what's up? But then I thought about it later, was like, was that a warning? Like, nigga, watch your back. Like, I can't tell. I don't know. But it was kind of cool. Like, oh, wow. Like, Waiel has seen this stuff. Then, as usual, when someone speaks to me or recognizes me who's a part of this, the players, I always, in my head, next thing I go to is like, what did I say about them? Did I say anything bad about them? I know I don't go there. I don't really go there, generally, except on Tim. But, I'm always kind of like, should I be watching my back? But anyway, that was kind of cool. I was like, wow, Waiel knows me. And then all I could think about was when I should have said, I didn't do it. Y'all, you trying to get me kicked out of the court? We got 2 more of these things to get through. But yeah, so that happened. And so with that happening, the reason why this is, again, why my notes are out of order, because now I'm shocked. Like, wait a minute. Not only did he speak in general, but he said my name and nodded like, okay, does he approve of me, or what's happening here? And then does he know what I said about him when I was like, they looking for you, Waiel. We need to see you. When he was missing in action, when he wouldn't testify, was saying, his attorney was saying, if y'all make him come, he gonna plead the fifth. So all of that stuff. But anyway, so that meant I wasn't paying attention to like, what does he have on and all of that. I had to later look as we left out for a break, and then I figured out, tried to get a better visual. So anyway, he had on a navy blue kind of knit jacket. It was like a knit jacket. It was almost like what you would wear to just kind of keep warm in the fall, like now. It wasn't a suit jacket. And it had like maybe leather patches on front, on the top, and it had like a kind of high collar. Again, y'all, I ain't into fashion like that, so I can't tell you. I'm pretty sure it's a style, and I can just say the style, and y'all would know, but I don't know. Anyway, I put here, that he then had on gray slacks, and I think he had on a powder blue button-up shirt, like just a plain dress shirt. I can't remember if there was a tie under it or not. Again, it was just like, I just told y'all, that threw me off. I'm only one man. I can only do so much when things get to like, what the hell's happening around me? Okay, so yeah, okay, so I said that. Then I talked about more people coming in from the public. Oh, what I also noticed was the agent, and I'm forgetting his name right now, but the agent who arrested Tim in Mississippi, the one who actually testified that Tim was trying to say illegally took his cell phone without a warrant and all this other stuff. He was actually there today as well with 2 other agents, FBI agents. And I don't think I saw him during Trevel's sentencing, or at least I definitely didn't notice him, but I did notice him today. So I thought that was interesting. Okay, so then we rise, all rise. Judge Ross comes in. Judge Ross is then talking to Waiel, and he is talking about the fact that why he's there, the fact that he had his plea agreement hearing, or whatever they called it, official. Again, this nosy neighbor version, so I don't know all technical terms. And they said that his last court hearing was on July the 22nd of 2022. And Judge Ross revisited what Waiel had agreed and admitted to during his last hearing. He said that he asked Waiel if he had admitted, if he was agreeing that he admitted to submitting insurance applications with false statements and information. Waiel then said, yes, sir. Judge Ross then asked him if it was true that he was pleading guilty to wire and bank fraud. And that's when Waiel was like, no, no. I was like, oh, something's happening. And then he was like, so I think Judge Ross addressed his attorney first, but I could be wrong. But anyway, the clarification was he was not pleading guilty to wire and bank fraud. It was wire and mail fraud. And so, so Waiel's attorney was then saying, well, it's clear, because one of Judge Ross's questions was, did you understand what you pled to, what was told to you about the plea agreement, all of that stuff? And so his attorney was then like, well, it's clear he was actually paying attention, because like he knows what he pled to. So Judge Ross then apologized for his misstatement, and he started correcting the charge on his in his notebook. So maybe he wrote it down wrong, or somebody wrote it down wrong. So then Judge Ross addressed the pre-sentencing report. And so he asked Waiel if his attorney he asked Waiel's attorney if he had any additional objections besides the ones that he had already submitted. So these are the ones that when you look at the court docket, they're already there of what he's objecting to in regard to the pre-sentencing report. And so for those of you who don't know, and I'm just learning this stuff, so I'll give you the nosy neighbor summary of what that means. So a pre-sentencing report is basically, and I think I mentioned it with Travail, where they basically, I don't know how they did it with Waiel, but I know when they're in prison, they do like a psychological meeting of sorts. And so the person tells about their background, their history, et cetera, et cetera. And they also look at their criminal record and they note all of those things. And so all of this occurred with Waiel. And so his attorney was objecting to certain things that have been put in this pre-sentencing report that was being considered as a part of how to come up with his sentencing, how to come up with how much time he was going to serve. So the government at that point stated that they removed their objection to the amount of the fraud, basically saying the amount of loss, because originally what they were adding in there was saying totaling the amounts of all of the insurance policies that Waiel and Tim attempted to file for, to apply for. Even if they didn't get them, they were just like, the totals of these is $1 million or whatever it was, whatever the exact amount was. Instead, Waiel's attorney was like, well, you can't count that because they didn't get them, and he was trying to say that Waiel was never trying to get those other insurance policies. Well, that he wasn't trying to add them together. He was trying to replace them. So as he kept applying for new ones, it was to replace the previous one, which is, that part would be legal if everything else was legal about it. So he was saying the only amount that should be considered is that $250,000 and not even the additional $200,000 rider, if I'm not mistaken, of the amounts, which then made it to $400,000. So he's like, we should only be considering the $250,000 policy, life insurance policy, not even the rider, mainly because that amount matters with how the sentencing guidelines, how high it goes, because it's a smaller amount of money. whole thing, because this is considered a white collar crime. But we'll talk more about that. So then Ross asked Waiel's attorney if he had any evidence, and his attorney said yes. He said he wanted to admit the text messages between Waiel and Tim. He said he wasn't sure if they were already admitted during the trial, to which I was thinking in my head, like, you wasn't at the trial, so you don't know what's really happening, because I think we got that. Like, we're very clear on those. I don't know how that was going to help you. But anyway, let me see. Again, my notes are out of order, so let me see what I start talking about next. Okay, so then he went on to, so he ended up trying to put the text messages into evidence, as his evidence that Waiel wasn't. So this is what I was saying. He's suggesting that Waiel had no idea of what Tim was planning to do with Dre, although the situation was extremely tragic. He says that Waiel's and then I put Waiel's attorney was now trying to argue the case. So I'm kind of like, shouldn't you have done this prior to us getting here? Because now we're just doing the sentencing. But he was literally doing opening statements as if this was Waiel's trial. And I'm like, Waiel forwent the trial. So let it go. But he was doing his best to try to be like, I'm here to try to get him the least amount of time possible. That was his goal. So I put here, rambled on about policy applications and what was approved, what was canceled, etc. Because again, and he was talking fast. He was talking fast. I put here that I felt so sorry. I kind of gave up trying to keep up with everything he was saying, but I felt so sorry for the court stenographer. I don't know how she kept up with that, because he was just going. And I put here, he was also talking so fast that he at one point choked off his own spit. He's like, he had to stop. And I was like, thank God, give me a moment to write down 2 or 3 words, because he was just going too fast. But I put here, so you get the point of what he was doing. He was arguing that Waiel was not trying to start multiple policies and was merely trying to replace them. Then I wrote here, another man showed up on Waiel's family side, and he looked just like Waiel. This guy, I don't know if Waiel has a twin or not, but this dude looks so much like him that you would know instantly that's his brother. He looked a little younger, but they look so much alike. It's like mirror images. What I also noticed, and I had it in my first part of my notes, I didn't mention it, was that with Waiel's family, you can see, I'm assuming they're Muslim, but I'm just making an assumption here. Nosy neighbor assumption, because ain't nobody told me nothing about nothing. But I noticed that with the women, they all sat on the men, all 3, because at this point it was 3 men and then Waiel, so 4 of them total, but 3 men from his family. All 3 men sat on the front row, and then all the women sat in the remaining 2 rows behind them, and then I was behind that. So I was sitting directly behind them. So I was thinking it was, something cultural or whatever, but I just thought it was interesting because, I'm a feminist. So I'm like, they can say what they want to say, but I know it's religious. So, but anyway, it was just interesting that, so it was hard to tell who might have been married to who, or who was with who, as far as the, male female situation. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting. Okay, I talked about that. Okay, so this is what I get to. Okay, so Waiel's attorney had his paperwork numbered incorrectly and had to, so this is with him trying to submit evidence. All of a sudden, what I noticed in the beginning, where I told you I was patting myself on the shoulder, like, oh, you called this. You could tell all of a sudden it was coming into play where he was not prepared. And so he had his evidence, it was numbered incorrectly. He submitted the wrong thing. And then he was like, oh, Judge, I'm sorry. That's not even printed out as clear as I was hoping it was, and all of these things. And then he ended up taking like a minute or 2. It felt more like 2 minutes or so, where he was trying to figure out his documents. So yeah, then I put a little star here saying, Told y'all he looked unorganized in the beginning. Just to remind myself, like, he was right. You call that. But anyway, the other thing I noted, and I don't know how well our VIP Facebook community could see from the picture, but Waiel's attorney was dressed pretty dapper, like, to me. He had on a solid black suit. He had on a white hanky. I feel like it was a white shirt, maybe with a black tie, but it was, I don't know if it was pinstripe or something, but it just looked very, like, all of a sudden I glanced up and I'm like, wow, he's looking very dapper. Like, it was, he's a white guy and everything, but it wasn't just like a plain black suit. Like, it really fitted and all of that. Just enough for me to notice. I put, his attorney looked dapper. But anyway, he was unorganized as hell, but he looked dapper. I ain't gonna say as hell, but he made this mistake. He was making mistakes with this part. So then Waiel's attorney went into, and I forgot his name. I wrote it down at some point or tried to phonetically write it down, but it's so far back that y'all will see it whenever I get to it. It's something, yeah, I can't remember. We'll get to it in a minute. So his Waiel's attorney then started to state his case law of similar cases, stating that we should only be looking at the one approved policy and not the additional benefits. So basically what I just told you, I jumped a little ahead of this, where he's trying to say, based on case law, he gives this other case that was similar, where there were insurance policies involved, and talked about how they omitted the ones that weren't approved and only went by the original base amount of the policy and not any riders, because the riders aren't guaranteed. We come back to this a little later, but in his mind, what he's saying is that rider wasn't guaranteed. The only part is guaranteed if the person was to die was that they would get the initial amount. The rider would be based on how they died, but there's no guarantee they'll die that way to get that rider. He's trying whatever. He's throwing it all at the wall. He's like Tim's attorney. He's just throwing it all at the wall. Like, something's gonna stick. Something's gonna stick so we can get you less time. So yeah, I put here that he's basically trying to reduce the offense level. So then it was brought up that in 2006 and 2008, Waiel was arrested for possession of marijuana. They said one was an SIS. I have no idea what that meant. And then one was a fine. So his attorney wanted this to be, so this goes back to the pre-sentencing report. So this stuff is included because they're trying to give the background of the person to, figure out what level on the guideline they fall on, but also, are they a benefit or a hindrance to society? Should they be given less time because, this is just an oddball mistake, or it's just a pattern of criminal behavior, which means they should get more time. So his attorney was saying that basically, although marijuana is still federally a crime from a federal perspective, we have evolved. And he's like, yes, I get it, but it's been a long time. This happened in 2006 and 2008. These were small offenses, et cetera, et cetera. So he was asking that if that could be removed from the calculations of Waiel's offense level, because it creates unnecessarily harsh criminal level. Because what it then did was each one of those count as a criminal offense in addition to the actual criminal offense, which is what we were here today for, the taking of Andre Montgomery. And so again, throwing everything at the wall, So attorney Angie Danis on the government side, she responds and she agrees not to calculate all of the policy applications. So they were saying that basically they agreed, like, overall, okay, well, we're not going to worry about every single policy that they attempted to get. We're just going to really worry about the one that he actually did get. But we getting that rider amount too, because the truth is that's what they were trying to get. That's the reason he kept going back, trying to get these other policies, because he's trying to get up to that higher number of 450,000. So they were trying to get that amount. So that was the government's perspective. So, and then Angie Danis, she continues, she says, I love them. Oh my God. I hope we get transcripts for this too, y'all, because I just want to give it to y'all the way they get it. Because I don't do my notes don't do how they word things justice. It just doesn't. But anyway, so she went on, because I love it. Ooh, when they get up there. Ooh, when they get up there, I tell y'all. So attorney Andrew Danis says Waiel was not honest with United of Omaha and was trying to get multiple active policies. He was just caught when Omaha asked, when they asked him about that other policy, then he admitted that there was another policy existing. And she said the only reason that he admitted it was because he wasn't savvy enough with insurance. He was a newer agent and all that stuff. And he didn't know, obviously, he didn't know that these insurance companies had like their own database where they communicate with each other, where they can just literally look up and say, oh, there's also a policy with ABC company for this particular person. And that's what happened. And so then they inquired with Waiel to say, hey, we already see that this person has an active policy. Is this policy going to be canceled if we accept them? So, yeah, so she just the energy and the passion she had, like, we're not doing this. Waiel was not honest with, it's just like she giving that kind of energy. She said she also brought up the text messages between Tim. This is the part I love. Ooh, I was like, she's slam dunking, dropping mics all over the place. She says, she said, and also the text messages, I'm not quoting, I didn't quote it, but I'm giving you the energy. So she basically said, also, as it pertains to the text messages between Tim and Waiel, when he won't make it 6 months when referring to Dre, like, that means this ninja knew that he was going to make that happen. Like, he can't just plead ignorance, like, oh, I had no idea. How's somebody gonna say somebody ain't gonna make it 6 months and you don't get no inkling that what do you mean? How you don't say, like, what do you mean by that? Why wouldn't he make it 6 months? Like, nothing. So then she pretty much rested with that again. She said it more artfully and everything than I just did. But then Waiel's attorney, he rebuts and he says to the government, the government. Ooh, Jesus, what's that? Oh, I'm saying that he finally found, he's rebutting, and he finally finds the documents that were mislabeled that he was looking for. It took him all this time. So then he went over to the government. He went over to Angie Danis and Gwendolyn Carroll, those two ladies, and he was talking through. Now I'm taking notes, so my head is down, but I'm hearing them, and he's talking to them. He's talking through with them, like conferring with them. And then all I heard was him say, I know. That's all I heard him say. And they're like having a private conversation at their table. Like, everyone's just silently waiting for them to handle business. And then all of a sudden I hear him say, I know. Where they like, get your ish together. We got this. We already did this. What are you doing? And so he was responding to Angie Danis at the time. So then I had a note here. I started writing that he basically said Waiel and literally no more words after that. Again, he was talking so fast. So Waiel only wanted Tim. Waiel's attorney continues and he says, Waiel only wanted Tim to get the new policy because he had moved from insurance firms. And so basically he's saying, when Waiel initially got that first policy for Tim, on Dre for Tim, he was working for a different agency. Then he moved and started working for a new agency. But how the policies work is that Tim's premium that he was paying was going to that old company. So now Waiel is not benefiting from that policy anymore. So Waiel, in order to bring his business with him, wanted Tim to get a new policy only so that he could then collect the new insurance premiums, and they wouldn't be going somewhere he don't work anymore, and he couldn't benefit from that. This was when he sent Tim the text message saying, oh, and if you do it by this, I can win a trip. So that was all part of, he had just changed jobs, et cetera, et cetera. He's trying to pull all his business over to the new job with him. So this is his attorney's stating basically, he's innocent. He had no idea. He's just kind of going about his life. He's trying to be a businessman, but he didn't know all that was going on. He wasn't trying to like work the system. He was just trying to be a good businessman and keep his money coming in. So, okay, so then Judge Ross kind of, all right, enough of this. I love when he does that. He don't say that, but the way he kind of interjects, and then he just kind of like, he don't even say, is that it or whatever. He's just kind of like moving it along. All right, so Judge Ross then says that he agrees with Waiel's attorney that this is a very complicated situation. He said, however, what he feels Waiel's attorney is suggesting that they do, as far as, forget all the policies, except for the one, but only the initial amount, not the rider, and then all these other pieces that I just mentioned that he wants them to forgo. Oh, the marijuana charges, the previous marijuana, forget that even existed. Like all these things to just reduce. Judge Ross was saying, this is a complicated situation, yes, because technically this is a white collar crime, because that's what Waiel is being charged for, not the actual taking of the life, but the white collar crime piece of it. However, the white collar crime piece of it is the catalyst for all the other. It was the domino, it was the first domino to fall to make all the other ones go. So this is what Judge Ross is saying. So he's saying, however, what you're suggesting is way too narrow for what this is. Because he's just trying to break it down to he made a mistake. He was just, he was just a businessman. He was trying to do some stuff and, he made some mistakes and he was lazy and messed up some documents. No. That's not this. So Judge Ross continues to say 3 policy applications were submitted with the intent to be paid upon the loss of Andre. So what they were trying to say, because his attorney was trying to say that Waiel and Tim were never trying to get multiple policies, or Waiel definitely, and this is what he's saying. Waiel was never trying to get multiple policies. He's saying that every time Waiel applied for a new policy, his intention was to replace the previous policy. Angie Danis, when she talked, and I didn't write that in this note, but the notes I just went over, but she was mic dropping as usual. She mentioned that part too. Yeah, that ain't true either, because we got these applications, and she said, I think it was on 3 of them. Yeah, 3, because that's what he's saying here, Judge Ross. On 3 of them, they lied and said there were no other active policies. And then there were some other lies in there too, which proved that Waiel just wasn't savvy enough to understand the insurance business to know he couldn't double up those policies like that. So he was, and had he got away with it, they got away with it, we would be probably looking at something where there was $1 million total out there for Andre's loss, unfortunately. Okay, so Judge Ross continued to say that basically the pre-sentencing report does reflect the intended loss. So he's saying, so the other argument that Waiel's attorney was making or trying to make was that he should be held accountable for the actual loss, which there was none, because they never got the policies. Remember, they never actually got the money, versus the intended loss. The intended loss was the $450,000. So Judge Ross is saying that the report does reflect the intended loss, and that's how we're going to keep it, not the actual loss, because of course, technically there was no money lost because they never paid out. The insurance company never paid out for the loss of Andre. So Judge Ross then continues to say that the guidelines are helpful, but they do not determine his final judgment. So, and he mentioned this because Waiel's attorney was going so hard with the guidelines, get these numbers down on the guidelines. And he's like, it don't matter what you do with the guidelines. You can take this down to 0. And at the end of the day, I make the decision. It don't matter. Fight all you want. That ain't finna change how I feel he should be sentenced. If I feel like I don't want to work with that. So Judge Ross then said that based on the guidelines, he basically had the option of 24 to 36 months or 30 to 37 months. And I don't know if I wrote that second one correctly, but he just said that. He was like, this is the possibility. Now, at that moment, I was like, is this what he's sentencing him to? Like, because he casually did the same thing with Travail and just went into the rest of it. But this time he started talking more. So I was like, okay, I think he's just giving the range. And so Judge Ross talked about the marijuana conviction points. And he said they will remain because it's law. So he was like, yeah, I get it. And he almost went into like his own personal beliefs of it. He's like, and I'm not gonna worry about that. But as we know, it's still law, like federal law. And so therefore it stays as it's getting counted as a criminal offense. So he said that brings Waiel's offense level to 18. He had 2 for the criminal. So the marijuana, I think, added to 20. The 2 points or something. And then he said that range gave him anywhere from 30 to 37 months. That put him in the 30 to 37 months range. Then is when Judge Ross gave the instructions once again on how they had the private conference thing. Again, everybody talking so fast, I ain't write this part down. I don't know all the technical terms he used. But anyway, this was time for him to confer with the attorneys, Waiel, in private. No one else, no one from the public, not even Waiel's family or anything, could remain in the courtroom. So we all left out. We all went into the hallway. It's a very short amount of time, so we don't go nowhere. This ain't like a break. It's just them that however long they need to talk. It could be 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever. So we go out and we just stand outside the door. The Griggs family this time, they didn't take them into that conference room. Like it's 2 conference rooms outside of the courtroom. They didn't take them into their conference room this time. They just stood in the corner near that door. And Waiel's family was they were almost in the center, basically. And then I was standing in the corner with Aaron and the media. I don't know his exact media director or something. I don't be wanting to give people names because I don't know if they want their names out there. But anyway, we were just talking. We were kind of chit-chatting. What I noticed with Waiel's family, and this is where I got a better view. I thought I wrote it down for y'all. This is where I got a better view of maybe the age ranges. Yeah, I guess. I don't know, y'all. I told y'all these notes all over the place. But anyway, this is where I got a better view of because I could see their faces now. When they were in the courtroom, they came in and they sat down in front of me. All I could see was back of their heads. But anyway, what I know, and this is how I noticed that the 2 women were a lot older. Well, one for sure. And one was really, she was really emotional. She was kind of whimpering, and the men were kind of comforting her. I couldn't tell though if that was his mom or if that was the grandma. I just couldn't tell. There looked like an older lady who was a little younger, but she wasn't as emotional. But that don't mean that the grandma wasn't more emotional than the mama. I don't know. And I don't be bothering people. I tell y'all, I don't bother nobody. So anyway, because I wouldn't want nobody bothering me in these kind of situations, to be honest. That's part of it. Okay, so we were out there. It wasn't even 10 minutes, 5 to 8 minutes, something like that. So we're then called back in. The Griggs family starts to go back in. So people end up, I think it was, I can't remember for sure, but some people kind of cut in front of Darren. Like all his family went in, and Darren, he's military, he's polite and all that. And I'm kind of like, let him be in, like in my head, like let him in. But he's like, go ahead. And so like everybody just started walking in front of him. And then one of the FBI agents was like, no, like his turn came. He was like, no, you go. But anyway, so but that just shows like how polite he is. He's what do you call it? Strong silent type. Strong silent type. But anyway, so we go back in. Judge Ross then immediately addresses Angie Danis and the attorney Angie Danis, and he's asking if the Griggs family will be making, or he said, I understand that the Griggs family will be making impact statements. Is that true? Blah, blah, blah. And she says, yes. And so she calls them, he says, and I think somebody, either he or she said it's only 3 of them or whatever. So what I'm going to do real quick, because my throat is burning and I want to take a swig of water and take a break from talking, I'm going to play us a little commercial. It's our regular Sweetie Pie commercial. I ain't did nothing else right now. But anyway, I'm going to play this commercial real quick, and then we're going to get into the victim impact statements, and then I will let you know. We'll get into Waiel. Waiel spoke as well. So yeah, I need a little break for that. All right, tune into this commercial break, and I'll be right back. I'm looking at, I caught a comment before I ran into the restroom. And Austin P, you need to go stand in the corner talking about some sister wives. Yeah, also ignorant, and I love it. Okay, so anyway, okay, so we come back in the courtroom. Judge Ross is addressing Angie Danis. He is asking, who's going to speak for impact statements. Darren Griggs, who is, again, I wish this thing, you know what? I have an idea of how I'm going to do this in the future so I can have these photos ready. But anyway, Darren Griggs, who is Andre's older brother, he goes up to the podium. Excuse me, y'all. He goes up to the podium. Judge Ross, tells them the same thing, basically, speak slow so that the stenographer can get what they're saying. This time he didn't say, though, don't address the plaintiff, the defendant addressing it. He didn't say that part. But anyway, I guess because he kind of like, we've been here, done that. Like, y'all know what to do. So then Darren starts to say, once again, they say a hell of a lot more than I'm able to write down. I'm no stenographer. So hopefully we get transcripts and then we can revisit this. But so I only have 4, 5 bullet points of what I was able to catch. But he said something to the degree of how Waiel's trying to act like, he didn't know what was happening, but he's basically like, you knew you were doing this all for greed. And he mentioned when Tim texted Waiel, he won't be here for much longer. Like most of us, that's a red flag. That's not I'm so surprised that anything happened to him. So Darren also mentioned, he said he said that Waiel coached Tim to impersonate my brother for greed. He said that everyone looked at Dre as money, money, money. Now that part I quoted. He also, let me read ahead. Let me see, because this chicken scratch and I might have my words all misspelled and all, Chicago public school education. No. He said that life insurance agents should be held to a higher standard, and that because of this is his last statement. And so because of this, he should receive the maximum sentence possible, because he needs to be an example for any other insurance agents who might feel like, oh, I'll forge some documents and I'll lie just to basically bring in more business or have, to make money. He said a hell of a lot more than what I got, y'all. A hell of a lot more. So I apologize. And then Judge Ross asked for who the next victim impact statement would come from. It was Kaylin, his sister Kaylin, and Dre's sister Kaylin. And so she went up to the podium, and there was a long pause. And at first I thought she was like, I was like, oh my gosh, she's like really emotional, like more emotional. But then I realized she said she was trying, she had put her statement on her phone. So she was trying to get it off her phone. So that took a minute or two. And so then Kaylin, I love Kaylin though. I love Kaylin because Kaylin is like me with no filter. Like I come to y'all with a filter like 90% of the time. Kaylin is me without the filter, and I love it. So Kaylin was like, Judge, this was. Oh, I don't know what word I was writing. I don't know if she said lousy and lazy. She said this was greed. She said he told his client, meaning Tim, to call as if he was my brother. He should have looked over the paperwork. So basically, he was just submitting random-ish. So he should have looked over the paperwork. Again, her wording is different than mine. And it's going fast. So I'm just quickly trying to jot down like what I can. So that hopefully when I reread it to y'all, it will click to what the whole statement was. Some of it ain't. It's late. I'm tired. 4 hours of driving, y'all. So she said he was pushing, and she said that he was pushing Tim to actually do more. So he's the one that kept recommending all of these new policies, etc. Whereas Waiel's attorney is trying to say, no, he was just trying to, replace those. And she's like, no, he's trying to get him like, let's get more money. I got to wait for you to get a couple more dollars. She says, and this was another, Caitlin, you was on this one. And I hadn't thought of this one really. Some of you may have, but she says, and how many others has he done this to? So, because are we supposed to think that this is an isolated situation? This is the first time that got a little sloppy with paperwork or embellished or lied or et cetera, et cetera. She then went on to say that, how this has impacted her mom, saying that her mom is now paranoid about everything. Her mom doesn't have any peace of mind. How Waiel gets to be out with his family. He gets to still be out with his family and friends and live and laugh and enjoy them. And she was like, we've been robbed of that. She also, again, she was on it. She said, he said nothing when Dre was taken out. She used the K word and did not try to help until he got caught. So how impacted were you really by the passing of him when you didn't say nothing until you got caught and you needed to make a deal to try to lower your sentence? She says, if he gets a slap on the wrist, he will probably come up with another scam. She says, my brother didn't deserve this. Again, she said a whole lot more. This is all I was able to catch. Then Judge Ross asked for who, next person. That was Michelle Griggs. Michelle, what I noticed is she addressed the judge directly. She said, Judge Ross, she says, I had 6 kids, 3 boys and 3 girls. I used to love holidays. And she says something I wasn't catching. Some of it I didn't catch on the mic what she was actually saying. But it sounded like she said something to the effect of during the holidays, she would just enjoy having her children around and counting her 6 kids. And she says, now I can only count to 5. She says, I have policies on, I've had life insurance policies on all of my kids since they were little, but not because of the money, but because I wanted to be able to take care of them if something happened. She said that basically Waiel is just as guilty because he provided the motive to Tim, because the motive was the payday. That was deep. When she said that, I was like, wow, like it does take it full circle to like, that doesn't happen. The rest of this doesn't happen. She says, I know the max is 20 years, but he gets to have his wife, kids, and grandkids. You should. Oh, she said, you should have come. She's talking to Waiel. You should have come forward in the first place, not trying to cooperate after you got caught. Again, she said a whole lot more than that, but that's what I caught for y'all. Judge Ross then calls to Waiel's attorney to something. I can't even read my own writing. I'm like, who wrote this? who been writing in my notebook? Because I can't read this. Anyway, Attorney B, his attorney, Waiel's attorney, then turns to the Griggs family. So that's what that word is supposed to be, podium. I just know it context clues people because I still spelled it horribly wrong. So what I wrote here was Judge Ross calls Waiel's attorney to the podium. And so Waiel's attorney goes to the podium, and then he immediately turns to the Griggs family, who are to his right, and he says, to the Griggs family, I mean no offense by what I'm about to say. Like basically, F your feelings, F your life. I'm about to try to get my client off. So I thought it was interesting that he would say that. In the moment, I was like, okay, that was kind of him to say that. I know my glasses are somewhere around, and I don't want to spend time looking for them while y'all look at the back of my head. So I'm powering through. Honestly, my scribble is the problem right here more than the glasses. But anyway, so he turns to them and he says, I mean no offense by what I'm about to say. Then he turns to the podium and gets to work. And so he says, this was basically a white collar crime. I know what happened, but my client, this was a white collar crime. And he says, then he begins to argue that Waiel did not know Tim's intentions. He says Waiel was trying to build a business. And then my writing fell off because what'll happen is they'll be saying something and I'm writing that, but then they start talking about something else. And I'm like, I got to stop there and hopefully I can fill it in. And I jump to the next thing. And so I have no idea where that was going. He said something else. But then I jump to, he then starts talking about Waiel being a full-time, that he's a hard worker. So he's saying he's such a hard worker that right now, Waiel is he works at Amazon full-time because he got that insurance license taken. So he works at Amazon full-time, and he's also working with, I think he said, a cousin who's opening a couple businesses. One is a vape shop, and he mentioned something about a gas station. And so he's saying that Waiel is working full-time at Amazon and then turning around and going straight to the vape shop and wherever else. And he's saying he's pulling like 16-hour plus days, working, etc. He says that Waiel's sister is an attorney. Waiel's brother is an engineer. He just said his mom and dad are here today. I don't know what that meant. He then said that Waiel is a talented musician who worked with Nelly. He stepped away from that business. He said he stepped away from that business. He said that because it was dangerous. Because it was dangerous. So he's saying that Waiel is not with the ish. He ain't with the ish, so much so that he got out of the music business because the music business is with the ish, just like YouTube. If y'all only knew, YouTube is with the ish. So he's saying this guy is so hardworking and so innocent that he doesn't even like to be around mess, so much so that he left an industry because that industry was full of mess. So he says his attorney, then I wrote, his attorney requested, this is where his attorney then requested, and again, he said more. Hopefully we get transcripts so I can really break this down for y'all. But he said a lot more, and then he basically was summing up. He says, so basically, all of this should allow us to step down his sentencing level, the guideline level for him. This is such a great guy who just got pulled into some stuff. And then he said, I don't know why I didn't start this one. He said, this should be, this sentencing should be pulled down. And he said, I would even go as far as to say, just giving him probation. What? What? Just give him probation. Just give him. Come on now. He's had probation for 2 years since he's been arrested. He got his probation. Now it's time to serve the time. So Judge Ross interrupts like he should have. And he states that Waiel was not. Oh, so Judge Ross, he interrupts. He says, and then he starts to just talk in general, but he's kind of addressing Waiel too. And he's saying, Waiel was not forthcoming with his financials, according to the pre-sentencing report. And so the government was actually asking for Waiel to be fined. I don't know how much, because they never talked about an amount. But Waiel, for some reason, the government is saying, was not forthcoming fully with his financials. Like, he's been deceitful still. So I'm like, Waiel, you had money? What's happening here? Okay. So then Judge Ross then stated that he was denying the fine. So he's like, we're not going to do the fine. We're not doing the fine for him holding back on his financials or giving them all. At that point is when Waiel's attorney interjected and was trying to explain that Waiel was not, in fact, being deceitful or trying to withhold his financials from the government. The issue was that he gave everything that he had. The problem was the way they were asking for certain calculations. He couldn't do them because he still receives royalties from the song he did with Nelly. And I forgot who. Did somebody say what song? Do anybody know what song he did for Nelly? If you do, could you put it in the chat and moderators, if you put it on the screen for me? But anyway, the song he did for Nelly, the one that I guess was a big song, he's still receiving royalties for it. And what his attorney was saying was the way that he gets paid out from that is not like a regular pay cycle of any sort. So it's hard for him to calculate, and he doesn't know what it will be and all of these other things. So that makes sense. Hot in here. Really? Hot in here? It's getting hot in here. So take off all your clothes. That's going to be telling him in jail. But anyway, so that was, he was giving clarity, like he wasn't trying to be dishonest, because again, he's trying to say my client is a good dude. He's innocent. He just got wrapped up in some stuff. Please don't be adding stuff to his character, making it like he's a bad guy. We need him to get less time. We need him to get probation. So who said this part? Let's see. Ooh, I don't know who was saying that. I see. Okay, so somebody said white collar crimes are measured in dollars, which is frustrating because this can't be measured in dollars. I don't know. I almost feel like, I don't know if Angie Danis also said that, or if Judge Ross is still saying this. I don't know. Because it was kind of repeated, that whole theme around this a couple times, where people were really saying it's kind of a technicality when it comes to Waiel, where his part of it is a white collar crime. However, the white collar crime was a catalyst to, this M for hire and the taking of Andre. And so without this, the rest doesn't happen. All of that. So anyway, but with that being said, they can't add on the M part of this, the M for hire part, just because it was the catalyst, because the truth is his part was solely the white collar piece, but the white collar piece has lower, sentencing guidelines and all these other things. So it's kind of like automatically when we go with the white collar piece of this, you end up getting less time that doesn't really quite equate to the level of crime that was caused through it. You know, it's I don't know if y'all get it. So that's the complicated and frustrating part of it, because they can't, as much as some would want them to be able to somehow add in the M for hire piece in this, you know, for good measure, they can't. It's not legal for them to do that. So, oh, this is Judge Ross talking. He says, I am, oh no, this ain't Judge. Wait, what did I do? Oh, this is Waiel. I thought I had wrote when Waiel started talking. Oh, I did. I don't. Again, my notes are out of order because I'm like, I did write on the top, like to know where Waiel started talking, but I started taking his notes and then was like, hold on, let me start on a clean sheet of paper. But anyway, so Waiel starts now. Okay, so all that's been stated. Judge Ross then asked Waiel if he has anything to say. Basically, Waiel starts to address Judge Ross. He thanks Judge Ross for giving him this opportunity to speak to the court. He then says, I am a hard worker, although this case doesn't reflect it. I even went to work this morning. I'm like, dang, what about your life? What about your life? I don't know if I could have really went to her and be like, oh, I don't know if this might be the end for me. Well, I know this is about to be the end to some degree. Like, I don't know. Maybe he thought he was going to get probation, though. So he said, and Kaylin was correct. I was lazy. So when he says that I was lazy and Kaylin was correct, in regards to not crossing all his, dotting all his I's and crossing all his T's, in regards to the paperwork, the applications for the insurance policy, he's basically saying, yeah, I was lazy. I wasn't checking into none. I was just submitting whatever. He had emotion in his voice. It was not casual, cavalier, like, oh, Nellyville is the album. Okay, thank you, Kiki Fobbs. So it wasn't as cavalier as Trevel's speech. It was definitely, you could hear, you know, to me, I know some of y'all gonna think he don't care at all and ain't no real emotion, but I felt like there's definitely remorse with this situation. He says, I only knew, he was saying, I only knew Tim to be a successful businessman and a reality star, and I didn't know the drama. I didn't know about his drama, and I didn't watch the show. So what he's saying is he had blinders on when it came to Tim. And so he just knew what Tim presented to him as far as who Tim was, but he wasn't in the know to really know who Tim was. So when all the shady stuff was happening around him, he's just looking at his insurance policies and making that extra money. And on top of that, as his attorney was mentioning, I'm probably getting ahead of myself, but as Waiel's attorney was mentioning, part of Waiel's motive in working with Tim, even with this Andre's policy, was this wasn't the long game for Waiel. He was being a businessman. And in Waiel's mind, he looked at it like, and we did see the text messages where Waiel, another reason why his attorney wanted to submit the text messages, the text messages in which Waiel was telling Tim, trying to get Tim to sign up his employees for health insurance as well. So he was looking at it like, I want to be able to get health insurance for all of your employees. So he's looking at this like, I'm gonna work with him on this so I can get in the door on these other things as well, not knowing that he was working with a alleged sociopath. So Waiel says that he has no children. He actually says that he understands what it's like because he lost a sibling as well. He didn't say when, he didn't say who, he didn't say how. He just said, I lost a sibling as well. He apologized to the Griggs family, telling them that he would never have done that for money. It wasn't about the money on that level for him. He had no idea that that was what Tim was attempting to do. He said the reason Tim told him that he was getting the policy on Dre was because of the music production part. So with Andre being a music artist, and and then living the life that he was living. And he was showing him the pictures and all of that, the social media stuff from the, was it trill or drill music that I told you all about during the trial. So he was saying that was the impression that he was under the entire time, that was why Tim wanted the policy on him for the amount that he wanted it. He said, and I quote, he says, Tim fooled Dre and me. And he said, I had no idea that Tim, because one of the things, as I read you the victim statements, where he was saying, where they were saying to him, like, you didn't come forward even when Dre was taken out. You didn't, I think it was Kaylin who even said, we spent years trying to like solve the case, and you knew, instantly about this when Dre was when Dre was taken out. So he's saying that when Dre was taken out, he still didn't know, because he didn't think that that's what Tim was trying to do. He thought, oh, he actually did die. Not that, oh, wait, this strange. It still wasn't clicking to him. I don't know. Like, I kind of feel like, we see a common theme with the people that Tim picked to be a part of this. Most of them. Now, there's some other players who didn't even get convicted or anything that I feel like were really fully aware of what was happening, a little smarter. But I feel like he took advantage of people being naive or completely slow. And I think Waiel may fall into the naive category. I'm not sure, but it just seems like, I know the fraud part with the insurance. I'm not debating that at all, but I'm talking about the literally knowing that this was supposed to be the end result. I think he was being naive, and I think Tim plotted on him because of that, and the fact that he was a new insurance agent and all of that. I feel like he knew what he was doing. Tim. He said he's truly sorry for what happened to Andre. He mentioned something too, like, he thinks about it all the time and blah, blah, blah. It's like, of course you do, because your freedom's on the line. So I don't know if that's helping right now. Maybe had you confessed, like, in the beginning before this, maybe. Then he addresses Judge Ross and he says, thank you for my opportunity to speak. He also was saying he had so much more that he had planned to say. Waiel was saying, I had so much more that I had planned to say, like I wanted to say. And he was saying he's lost for words. Like, it's like, you should have wrote it down, Waiel. Like, you write those things down. Like, anytime you might be emotional and stuff, you just want to write it down, just in case. So then Judge Ross speaks. He says, it's clear, Waiel, that you are a hard worker. Supportive family. You have a supportive family. It was clear through all those, like I told you, it was 10 of them by the end, 10 of them supporting him, sitting there. But he said, but you weren't drawn into this. You were active participants. Judge Ross don't play with them. He don't play with them. He don't play with them, because remember what I told y'all, he told Travell, who was trying to act like, I didn't know what was happening, Judge. And then he was like, you literally waited for Terica to lure Andre out, and you stood between two buildings waiting on him. And he said, and you had just lost your own brothers. Like, yeah. He was like, that was callous. Yes. He did same. Oh, he did same. Okay, so then he said, based on your history, you are a hard worker, so I don't believe that you were being lazy. You did this for your own business interests. So all this, oh yeah, it was a mistake because I was rushing, because I got lazy and I just pushing stuff through. He's like, I don't believe that. No, you were looking out for your own business interests. You're counting the money, you're counting this, this trip you can win and all of this. This is about your own business interest, not about the, Dre or the betterment of him or anything else, or protecting him. And Judge Ross said, this is beyond the white collar. This is beyond the white collar guidelines. So basically, the white collar guidelines stops us here. You need to go past, like, go past. Don't collect $200. So he says, this is when he says, so you're being sentenced to 36 months and 3 years of supervised release. He then says, oh, I said over for some reason. Let me see. Oh, then he asked, did Waiel's attorney have any objections? And his objection was, he was objecting because he was like, but the government recommended as low as 5 months. So how you get up to 36 months? And so he said it was higher than the government's recommendation. And so Judge Ross was like, as I stated before, I can do whatever the fuck I want to do. He didn't say that, but he said it. He didn't say those words. But he's like, the guidelines are just the guidelines. I could go operate wherever I want within or outside of these guidelines. It's just a suggestion. It's giving guidance, like I'm gonna show you where you can go, but it's up to you. And so it was up to him, and he said 36 months. Then Judge Ross said that as far as Waiel is concerned, he's going to be whatever the term he said, basically handed over to the marshals, et cetera, et cetera. And he says that he's going to recommend to the prison that Waiel be participate in drug rehab. He said drug. So this, I don't know. He did say this. I felt like they was treating his marijuana use like he was a crackhead. And I don't know if he's like Snoop Dogg marijuana user or if he's just like, the people who just, they do it on a Friday, they do it after work or whatever to calm their nerves or whatever. But the way Judge Ross was treated was like this dude was on the corner selling his body for weed or something. So he did say that he was gonna recommend drug rehab because of the fact that he said it's obvious you got a problem, because of the fact that he tested positive for marijuana even during this stuff. Like after he originally got arrested and he was on bond and all this other stuff, he tested. He did what they say, dirty, dropped dirty or whatever they say. So because of that, he's like he's recommending him for drug rehab. Now I'll get to some other stuff too. Also, he's gonna give him the option to participate in occupational training program or educational program of his choice in prison. He's gonna recommend this to the prison that they give him these opportunities. One of the other requests that Waiel's attorney had was that Waiel be sent to a prison in South Dakota. And I forgot, it felt like he said why exactly. For one, it's the programs, but I feel like it was something else he was saying, closer to something he said. So anyway, he's asking that he be sent to a prison in South Dakota. Judge Ross said, pretty much we're open to that and we'll see what happens. And then Waiel's attorney asked if Waiel could do a self-surrender. So I got some questions, and I don't be answering questions that's gonna give up the beats of the live in random comments in our different platforms. But I had people asking so was he arrested today or taken into custody? And no, he was not. He was free to go. What they're saying is basically it can take anywhere from 5 to 9 weeks for him to actually have to surrender himself. They'll give him a date and all of that. Judge Ross was telling him that during this time, and his Waiel's attorney asked that he be given this time so he could get his business in order, like prepare his life and all of this other stuff. Must be nice. Must be nice. So that's, Judge Ross he asked the government if they had any objections to it. They did not. And so he was granted that. Judge Ross did, though, assign a special assessment to be paid by Waiel of $100. I don't know what that's for, but some kind of fee that he has to pay, $100. After his release, he will be on probation for 3 years. He will have to submit to drug testing, regular drug testing, and he will have to submit his financial documents upon request to his probation officer. So it's basically the way for them to ensure that he doesn't get into any other criminal, fraudulent activity, financial stuff. Trying to see what else. I think his attorney's name was Brom Training or something. Brom Train. I don't know. Yeah, that's it. Let me see. Make sure. Yeah, I told you about the blank. We done. That's it. That's all I got for y'all. All right. Well, good night. All right. So yes, that was it. And so it was very uneventful. Like the end, I ended up leaving. I was tired, so I didn't stick around to and I thought about it later. I was like, maybe I should have. I really didn't think about it until after I took the picture of the attorney, and I was like, God dog it, I should have been outside the courtroom to at least film them leaving so y'all could see what the family looked like or something from afar. Not gonna get in their face, but yeah. So that was it. Let's see if we have. Okay, yeah, we have a few starred comments. I will go through these, and then. How long we been? Oh, hour 37 minutes. Not too bad. Was it Bron Tranger? Thank you so much, Gwendolyn Thomas. Okay, so let me go through the comments. Vale, did you maybe have your Chinese food from that one place you shared with us? Yes. Is it Lucky's? Yeah, Lucky's, I think. Lucky's, yes, I had it for the second time today. Actually, I had leftovers over there. And so I actually did a little quick little taste testing mukbang here. But then I wanted to eat in peace. So I just took a couple bites for y'all and gave my opinion. But yes, so I'll be posting that video. I think it's going to go on Patreon, y'all, to be honest. I know some of y'all going to get mad about the Patreon thing, but it is what it is. This is a job. This is a job. But yes, I did. I had today I had the seafood fried rice. I tried their buffalo wings and St. Paul, a shrimp St. Paul sandwich. It was good. It was all good. But I give more in the little video. Devonna Powell says is he a U.S. citizen? If not, will he get deported when he is free? Y'all so racist. Yeah, I'm just messing with you, but just because he looks different. No, he's a U.S. citizen. He is. There's no deportation or anything like that. Damaris, and he was. Thank you for that because. First of all, thank you, Damaris Alexander, for the $10 super chat. I really greatly appreciate you. Vale, thank you always pressing your way into keeping us informed and updated. I appreciate you, and I appreciate you even more for your support. But that brings me to thank you so much. The last comment already before this, and my memory is bad, so I forgot the name just that quick. But I had people asking like, oh, I saw a couple comments like, oh, they found Waiel, and I'm like, he was never missing. So in the trial, no, he did not show up, and yes, they. When I say he wasn't missing, they could have gotten him if they really wanted him, but he wasn't going to testify, so they kind of gave up. And this was Tim's attorney, wanted Waiel to come in and testify to all of the shenanigans. And Waiel's attorney was like, for one, y'all ain't served him because he ain't answering doors. But if y'all do serve him and force him, basically give him a bench warrant, he's going to come in here and plead the fifth. So it wasn't that he was out of it. Now, he did ask to be able to travel to Kansas City, and it was denied by Judge Ross. But he wasn't missing. He wasn't out of the country or anything like that. It's just he wouldn't come to court for Tim's shenanigans or to give us the dirt, because we still didn't. I mean, we got a little bit here. Well, we got his perspective, but we didn't get the outline of Did you and Tim actually ever meet with Dre? I know the answer, but could you tell us? Could you tell us that it didn't happen? Because Tim keeps claiming that it happened. So it's stuff like that. But anyway, he was never like MIA, like, oh my God, he's out of the country and he's ran away. Like, no. He was under bond. He wasn't finna jack. Well, I ain't gonna say he wasn't, but he did not mess that up. I'm waiting on my I didn't do it t-shirts. Okay, so all of this is on my agenda. This stuff is a little more complicated than it may seem. I have to have a platform in which to be able to have you guys be able to purchase it. I'm not gonna be sitting at home with 500 boxes of t-shirts and reading orders and folding them with my boo. I want to have a company that's like drop ship where they would take care of all of that. So we got to have that. I'm looking into that. But then the other piece is I also need to have my website set up so y'all have a place to go to be able to do it. It's a lot more to it, but it's coming, and I'm coming with some other stuff with it in addition, so it won't be like if y'all get tired of that. I didn't do it. We got, I'm only one man. We got other stuff that I'll have. So I'm working on it. It's coming. I ain't giving no dates, but it's coming. I'm definitely working on it. I'm like design and everything else. I have definitely been working on it. So I thank you, Purple Lady 54, because you are the first person who was relentless enough to make me say, okay, this ain't just chatter. I think they really want it. So it's coming. Thank you so much. Miriam Jordan, thank you so much for the super sticker. I greatly appreciate you. And is it Sherry or Shara? Gladney, oh, thank you so much for the $50 super chat. I greatly appreciate those chunks that really take a dent out of these Airbnb fees. Greatly appreciate you for that. Thank you so much. Sugar Spice 313, thank you so much for the super sticker. I greatly appreciate you, friend. I'm used to seeing you, so I really appreciate your continued support. Taronda Norwood, hey Vale, I'm here, but it's a sad day for my family and me because my oh wow, got gunned down yesterday in South Chicago. I'm so sorry. My condolences to you and your family. It's so sad. It's so sad. But yeah, my condolences to you and the family. I don't know if you're a part of our VIP group as well, but if you are, please share that in the group so that we can all give our support to you virtually. Darlene Gladdy Vale, you do great and informative videos. 100. I'm not surprised he knew who you are. Eyes they be watching. Thank you so much, Darlene. I really appreciate that. I mean, I'm still shocked. I'm like, I mean, it kind of makes sense that he would maybe have heard somebody, and I'm sure somebody probably sent him something, but it still feels strange. Like, oh my God, this is one of the people. Like Miss Robbie, when she waved at me, I'm still like, Miss Robbie actually, obviously, and sent someone to say that's not her boyfriend, that's her stepson. Like, that's interesting. Taronda, I want to thank everyone for the prayers and love. I love y'all. Yes. That's we're over here to support. We're a family over here. We're building a community of being purpose driven because it's rare in general on social media, not just even YouTube. It's just rare in general, and we all got enough going on in our real lives and everything else that we just need refuge, and that's what I want this platform to be. With shenanigans, don't think I'm not nobody's preacher. I'm not nobody's minister. Don't think I'm gonna get over here and be like, well, Vale, you cursed, or Vale, you had drugged that person. If they deserve to be drugged and they're not a good person, I'm gonna drag them because I can, because God enables me to be able to do that too. But other than that, definitely want to support people, and I don't want to drag people unjustly. That I don't do it. I don't do it just. I don't get ish and giggles out of just dragging innocent people. But there's some, oh God, y'all, if y'all only knew some of these people out here. Jamila Chester, he knew because Tim said that he was going to dollar, and he told Tim to pretend he was Andre. Yes, and Kaylin and Darren, I can't remember if Michelle Griggs, but they brought it up during their victim impact statements as well. So and the government did as well. So yeah. Share my love. Share my love. Could you do the Terica voice, please? I still have the Terica voice, a compilation video coming for you guys, but it's been taking me a little time to edit it because I got to be a little busy. But it will come this week, I promise. I don't know how good. I might be a little off. I feel like that was a little off. Nellyville is the app. Oh yeah, we read that. Thank you so much, Kiki. Tiffany Jones. I'm like, every time I see that, I'm like looking at thumbnails. Is this Tiffany Jones? I know, but it's not. Just looked on Wikipedia for what it's worth. LOL. The song Waiel produced with the title track on the album Nellyville, Not Hot in Here. Neptune produced Hot in Here. So so you're saying it was the title track on Nellyville? What is it? Do you have what it's called though? So it's Not Hot in Here. Okay, but thank you for that correction. Thank you, because I I would have been walking up and down the street talking about some. He produced Hot in Here. Because in my head I was thinking, oh, that means his royalties are probably pretty good. Because I think I heard that recently on even a regular commercial for some product, like a national product that I was hearing Hot in Here, and I'm like, ooh, somebody getting that. Power Dynamics for Life. Hey, friend. Thank you so much for the super sticker. I greatly appreciate your continued support. And all of you who've been sticking with me for a while, to the point that I now know your names. And yeah, I can kind of put situations with names. It's, not necessarily faces all the time, because we got these thumbnails and some people have avatars and all that good stuff. But I just love what we're building over here. But with that being said, that's all I have for y'all tonight. I thank you for joining me. We do have, I did want to give a refresher. I meant to do this in the beginning and forgot. Just for those who may not be up to speed, I know everybody can't see everything. I get it. We got lives, and I don't expect y'all to follow every single thing I do. But I then get questions that are like, the answers are out there, and I can't answer like 200 people with the same question of information that's out there. So I wanted to, in this live, also re-mention the what's happening next with sentencing updates. So we just did Waiel. So for those who may have missed it, because I swear I'm gonna get a question or 2 or 12. Waiel was sentenced today. The hearing has not been moved. It is done. He has been sentenced. Now it's just a matter of, actually finding out what date he will have to turn himself in to start serving his time. But he is convicted for 36 months and then 3 years of probation after that. He does have the right to appeal. And Judge, I thought I wrote that down, but maybe I didn't. Waiel does have the right to appeal his sentencing, just like Travell has the right, or has the right to appeal, and that's what he's doing. However, what Judge Ross mentioned that today to Waiel, but what he also said was that if it will violate his plea agreement, he may want to make sure that, because sometimes as a part of the plea agreement, he can't appeal it. And I thought that was maybe it was in Terica's, but man, I thought it was in Travell. So I thought I remember seeing that. When he said it today, I was like, wait a minute, I thought I remember seeing that they couldn't appeal it, but I could be wrong. So anyway, Waiel could still appeal, and then he could void his plea agreement as well. So we'll see what happens with that. He's probably going to appeal. Terica's, so this will be the next one. Terica Ellis, her sentencing hearing is currently set for January 10th of 2023 at 1:30 p.m. And again, subject to change. We see these dates move. Hopefully it doesn't, but it can change. And but it will be at the same location, at the federal courthouse in St. Louis, Missouri. And if it's God's will, and y'all support me, I'll be back there. I will be there for Terica's hearing, doing what we just did tonight. Then we have the sociopath, alleged sociopath himself, James Timothy Norman. Sentence hearing is currently set for March the 2nd of 2023 at 10 a.m. But once again, it is also subject to change, as we have seen multiple times with all these other hearings. So, and then as I mentioned, you know, Travell is appealing. Don't know what that would look like or mean or anything like that, but that's where we are with all of those. So, trying to think. Also thank you to my moderators on the front end: Lisa Diane Hunt, Marianne Coker, Precious G. Welcome again. Don Smart. I think that's everybody. Oh, Tisha W. I almost missed it because she wasn't in there earlier when I went through. But thank you everyone on the front end. And then Alice, blessed child of God, and Go Gadget Bridget, who hung in there late with me this evening because she's had a busy day and she got to get ready for work in the morning, and she's East Coast and all that good stuff. So I really appreciate your extra layer of support and your sacrifices, ladies, on the back end, because it's very helpful in helping me balance all this. Thank everyone for the super chats. Thank you for the Cash Apps as well. I greatly appreciate you. And I will be back. I'll be back, I'll be back tomorrow with a live. Stay tuned for when and all that, because I'm going to sleep until I feel like waking up tomorrow. And but yeah, I'll be coming back. It's a lot of topics we need to cover. Oh, and I also want to do the footage that I did for you guys. I was here the last time and I told you I went to all these sites. I'm going to do that live. That's what we'll do tomorrow night. We'll do the live recap of all of the places I visited, and I'll walk you through the timeline and all of that. And you'll get to physically see the places and me describe what happened. And then we'll have Darius Crooks live. I see somebody commenting, Don Smart, about Darius live. Yes, Darius Crooks live the live stream will be on Wednesday. Wednesday is our regular date for that. And then we'll probably throw in another one this week, just because I'll be going live every night this week, I should say, except for Friday. So with that, thank all of you so much. I appreciate you. Till tomorrow, take care and be blessed.